Hi everyone, it's present day Vicky and we are here now finally finishing the dress. It is finished, as you can see. It is many months later. My hair is short, as you'll see, and all the things. But the dress is done and I'm delighted with it. So I want to show you the rest of the process. Last time we drafted the pattern, I realized that the bodice is going to be a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, and overall just many things happened. The sun just came out. In this part we will finally finish the sleeves and the skirt and put the whole thing together, and it looks great. It looks great, so let's have a look at it. So, whoa, that's sewn. Now, what happens now is the corners get clipped, so any of the curvier bits I'm just going to clip into. Let me just check first, because I could clip into it and I will need to, but I feel like if something's gone not great, I would rather not clip, unsew, resew and then do it. That's not looking half bad. That's that front side. So that's the front, there's the sleeve, nice and tightly attached. This is very tidy and smooth. It's very tidy and smooth on the inside, you can't even tell. This is all fantastic. Okay, not too bad. Alright, in that case let me go in and clip a little. There's not much, it's just I think actually the curves. I'm just going to clip a few of the curves here. So I'm just clipping into the seam where it's a little curvier, so it has space to move around and stretch and squish as it needs to, as opposed to you know, being really squished and creating unnecessary bulk. This will all tidy up as well a lot when it gets pressed. Then I pinned and sewed the last bits of the middle lining bodice together, sewed it into place. It was a bit tricky obviously because of all the curves, but it managed. Okay, now that I have the lining in place, I'm just going to press the inside seams downwards, and then I'm going to actually sew along. So I'm going to kind of try and sew in the ditch here or top stitch that so that the lining holds in place. I feel like otherwise it'll just be flopping all over the place and it'll be bothering me. Before I do that, however, I also need to close the side seams, so I'm going to do that first. For the side seams, I put the regular fabric right sides together and the lining right sides together and just sewed all the way through, which meant that I had a really lovely seam. I also understitched it to make sure that everything stayed in place, even though it actually showed on the outside because I didn't do it completely right. But it looks really nice and it's a very tidy seam. And then I went on to do the skirt. So for the skirt I used another pattern's panelled skirt piece. I just widened the waist by quite a lot so that I could gather it. And because of how the fabric is, I do have some interfacing. I might just add a bit, like a strip of that just along here, just so we can handle the pocket a little nicer, because otherwise I feel like the pocket will just really stretch out, and I feel like I need that a little bit more stability, so I might do a strip of that just here to be able to hold the pocket. That's my front skirt. I think I'm gonna do the same for the back skirt, because I don't really see why not. It's all gonna be gathered, so the idea is it's nice and wide. The idea is that this will be gathered to the width of my waist, and it will be a lovely, see, that's the idea. you see what we were going for here. So that seems to be working okay. This is the waist going down. That's my pocket piece, so I just placed it to the notch where I know I want to start my pocket, placed it down, and I went a little bit further down again just so that it can support, and I started all the way at the waist because again I need this to be as stable, like from the waist to the pocket and a little bit below as possible. I've also cut these quite wide. I think these are about 2 centimeters, maybe 2 and a little bit, just because a lot of it is going to be in the seam in the first place, and then the rest I still want to be more stable. So that's that, and I'm just going to iron that onto all 4 pocket sections. So front 2 pockets, on the sides, back 2 pockets obviously. I'm also doing this before I start the gathering, just because I want this to be as straight as possible piece when I actually go to sew the pockets in. So let's iron. This was the first time I really did any interfacing, so I was a bit scared, but it actually worked out really smoothly, and I also used it as an opportunity to press out my pocket pieces because they were very, very floppy. But yeah, it worked really nicely. Okay, a few things have happened. I've had lunch, I've called my family, I've received a package, but I am now aligning my pockets with my skirt pieces, and I'm going to very quickly and efficiently, hopefully, sew these right sides together. I'm only doing like 1 pin. This is very nice and even and solid now that I have supported the fabric, so let me just do that very quickly. The most important part is that we align the pockets, and this is always a tricky part, but basically there's a location where the pockets align, and when one switches from sewing the skirt to sewing the pocket, you need to turn from going down into sewing the pocket and then get back down. I am actually working from the pocket up because these might not align perfectly, and that's fine, really fine by me, because I'm still not finished with the waistline, but I just, yeah, align everything from the pocket. My skirt sides, this will be straightforward. I'm not really going to pin the rest. I'm just going to pin again where the pockets meet, and I make sure that all of these seams align. I feel the end of that, and just a little bit past it is where I need to get to, and I just keep moving down, and I'm not really going to pin these. I'm going to put like 3 pins all together going down the end. That should be, they'll just go where they need to go, really. For this step, I also really like to check that I have enough thread on my bobbin, because it's one of my favorite things in the world, heavy sarcasm, when the bobbin runs out right in the middle of sewing a really long seam. So just a little friendly reminder if you're sewing a very long seam. As you might notice, I already do have gathers on the waistline there because I did it the wrong way around. So it's only through the magic of editing that you see it in the correct order. But I'm very happy with how the side seam turned out, especially the pockets you'll see very soon. I'm very proud of. I've just sewn the side seams together, turn them around. Look at it, it's barely there. Perfect. Perfect pocket. I'm using my zigzag thread trick again. And I am just going to leave the bodice up here. I will find the middle of this so that it's at least approximately accurate. I will mark that with a pin. So there's my little pin there to mark where the middle line is, so that my middle line will actually go in the middle. But for now I am just gathering, and look at how fast and easy it is. This is why I love this method, because it's just so easy. Okay, now I am going to find the mid point of the bodice, which is about here, I wanted to say. Right sides together with the marked pin point of the gathers that I just made, and I'm just going to pin those two together. Haha. We have a pretty beautiful, if you ask me, gathered skirt. That's the top of the bodice. That's the gathering. It looks very smooth, very tidy, and very nice and even. So I'm very happy with that. I will do the same with the back. I had to get a new zipper, so I bought a white zipper originally, invisible zipper, but it's too short for the new cut. So I had to go get another one, and the only one that they had was a purple, which I don't really mind because there is kind of a dark blue in these flowers, and this is thick enough a fabric to not really show it through too much. So I don't really care, and having a purple zipper is not a problem for me. So I'm gonna have that up here, and now I just need to figure out how low it's going to go down the skirt. I think I might do, yeah, maybe about that much. That seems about reasonable to be able to get in. So I'm going to put the interfacing into these. I have that cut, so I'm just putting one, yep, I'm just putting one this way basically, and then the other one on the other side, so that they can help kind of support the zipper a little bit nicer. And then I am going to sew the skirt onto the bodice on the back. Sorry, I do realise this, you literally can't see. This is chaos. But basically all of this gathered bit needs to be attached to this straight bit. So I'm gonna do that now. This is my little middle center point right there. That's where the zipper is gonna go. So I'm going to sew up to here. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space, probably a centimeter and a bit on each side. And then I will just baste the zipper in, sew the zipper in properly. I'll do all the closing. I'll show you that when I get to it. Basically there's not much to go, but it feels like there are still many steps to do in that not much to go.
Here you can see me try the dress on again. So I was very happy with the top, lovely pockets, but the waist was just too wide. I don't know, there must have been just issues in the pattern itself, which is fine. So because of how it is, I decided to put 2 darts like this in the back and hope for the best. Because of the gathering, I assumed they wouldn't be too visible, and you can see me putting them in here. It did actually work out quite well in the end. They did what they needed to do. Then I put in the zipper. This is my favorite part, despite many people's fear of zipper sewing. I actually really love them. I feel like it's just very satisfying when you get a nice result. So here it is.
Baby! See what I mean? I love sewing a zipper. It's so nice and easy. Perfectly aligned in the middle with the waist. There's something about it. I love sewing in zippers. I can trim off all of this extra. There's so much here. So what I'm going to do is, once that's trimmed off, I can then sew this in somehow so that it's all nice and hidden and lined and glorious. Lots of trimming ahead, basically. Just lots of trimming. That's all that awaits me now. Look at this. Oh, isn't it joyous? Look at that. Masterpiece. I love zippers, what can I say? What I'm going to do now is the last step in the middle here, and the most crucial step, I think, of the middle here, is attaching the lining to the actual inside. So I am going to first figure out if there's too much here, which there is. So I'm going to make a dart in these as well. And then I am just doing what I've already kind of started here, which is I am pinning, I'm folding this over by a tiny bit, and then I am just going to pin it wherever it kind of belongs with the seam allowance underneath, if that makes sense, so that it stays in place. I am very tempted to sew this by hand. That's all I'm doing now, and then I just need to hem the bottom. I think I'm gonna need to let the dress hang for a little bit, like hang up, so that the bottom can relax into its regular state, and then I'm just going to do something about it. I might just double turn that, and so that I haven't decided if I want like a ruffly bottom yet, but I like the length, so we'll see.
I decided against the ruffle on the bottom. It's a really nice length, and I liked it. And I did also sew the bodice lining in by hand. It was worth it. It looks much cleaner. For the hem, I did just kind of double roll and hem all around. I did let the dress kind of hang for a little while, so I returned this after a few weeks actually. And here is the final result. I'm a huge fan of this dress. I've already worn it a few times, and while some of the details could be a little crispier, overall it swishes, it moves, it does exactly what I wanted it to, and if I had a field to run through, I would. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.